Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pitch Catch Podcast. My name is Eli Swice,
And I'm Joey Fernandez.
and what a wild ALDS and NLDS that we have just witnessed. A lot of our
Lots
predictions
going on.
have gone to absolute shit, but um, very exciting to say the least. We'll be going through every single series and letting you know our thoughts because it was a wild ride. So, I guess we could start off with the most recent series that ended, which was the Dodgers and the Giants. Went to game five,
Yeah.
like many of us expected. Overall thoughts on the series, what are you thinking?
I think it was kind of like the clash of the Titans in a way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously the best two teams in baseball record wise, and I think obviously they were the best teams in baseball just in general as far as talent level, production. I mean, you name it, you know. Um, the amount of the games weren't like crazy like I don't know, like splash, like a lot of splash things happening. It was just a lot of sound baseball, you know. There wasn't many mistakes. They were just well played baseball games, and you gotta love it, you know.
Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorites of the four series. I really thought the Giants would pull it out. I think that the Dodgers, they came out a bit flat to start the series just against Logan Webb, and we'll get to him in a little bit. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, very exciting. I'm not surprised at all that the Dodgers won. I'm pretty sure most people thought they would win, but I did have an inkling of hope that the Giants could have pulled it off. Um, I guess we'll get right into Logan Webb, who basically put the Giants on his back. The Giants had a lot of good people that stepped up for them, but none did the way that Logan Webb did. I mean, got the most important win if to some people. I mean, today he didn't get it, obviously, which is the most important, but one of the most
He
important
deserved
ones
it.
in a series is the first game. And he went out there against Walker Bueller, a Cy Young candidate who's been amazing. He pitched 7 and 2/3 of an inning, 10 strikeouts against a stacked Dodgers team. And then he comes out tonight and also pitches another 7 innings, giving up 1 run. This is a future superstar in the making. I think we both agree in that, and it was really fun to watch. So, what are your overall thoughts on him? And he had to have impressed you throughout these playoffs.
Oh yeah, I mean the way he just commands the strike zone and he's not afraid whatsoever just to do it to just attack hitters. I mean the first time through the order he was basically throwing all sinkers.
Hmm.
He was just he was coming at the hitters and he really started to mix in the slider the second time around, obviously because against the good lineup you're not gonna be able to just stay the same. Obviously you're gonna have to make adjustments, but I mean he kind of just went out there and dominated. I mean there wasn't really many threatening moments besides when Mookie Betts came up to the plate because he was the only guy who really did anything off of him, but they were all singles anyway.
Hmm.
But I mean, he just did so well overall. I mean, 14 innings, 14 plus innings and one earned. I mean, what could you really ask for out of a guy, you know? They were pretty I mean, he kind of put the team on his back like you said. It sucks that they couldn't pick him up, but I mean, well played either way.
Yeah, definitely gave his team the best chance to win, um, especially in game one. Obviously, blanking them, Giants won that game 4-0. Game two went a little bit differently in the Dodgers' favor. They obviously had Urias out there, who pitched five
Mhm.
innings, gave up a run, and then the bullpen took care of the rest. 9-2 victory for the Dodgers there off Kevin Gausman, which is an interesting case because Gausman was looking like a Cy Young candidate through the first half of the season, but his second half wasn't too good. I'm pretty sure he had a
No.
four to mid four ERA, and then coming in game two, he did give up 4 runs in 5 1/3. So not looking like the extremely dominant pitcher that we thought. Dodgers took that game pretty sound there, and then that kind of got the people thinking. Okay, Dodgers are back. They just put up 9 runs against a good Kevin Gausman. Giants got a little lucky with Logan Webb, but then the next game hits, and you're looking at the stat sheet, and it's Alex Wood versus Max Scherzer. And
Yeah.
any betting man would put his money on Scherzer. We all
Yeah.
know the Giants came away
Exactly.
with the 1-0 victory, but, how good was Scherzer this series?
I mean, He was he was what you expect. I mean, going back to our wild card predictions, I was the one like preaching you can't bet against playoff Scherzer. And
Mm.
I mean, even though he went out and had such a great performance, only giving up one run, I mean, this game perfectly summed up the Giants season. Everyone was counting them out, and they went out and 1-0 blanked the Dodgers. Like when the Dodgers have the one of the top Cy Young candidates in the NL come out and throw a one or how many innings did he go? 6 innings, 7 innings?
Scherzer went 7 that game.
Okay, yeah, he went 7 innings. Throwing, I mean, one-run balls really good, and they
Hmm.
still find a way to win. I mean, there's nothing like that's exactly how the Giants were winning games all year. I mean, obviously they had a high-powered offense, but they just find ways to win. I mean, obviously they didn't pull out the series, but I think that just shows how impressive they were as a team in general all year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird game to look at. Alex Wood, the starting pitcher, went 4 2/3, gave up no runs, which is pretty
Uh-huh.
impressive against the Dodgers offense.
The
Taylor Rogers
revenge
comes
game.
in. Yeah, Taylor Rogers comes in for an inning and 2/3, gives up no runs, and then McGee and Doval, come out combined for the 2 2/3.
Yeah,
They blanked. I mean, whether you want to look at like Scherzer pitched better than Wood, there's no question about that. He pitched
yeah,
more
no doubt.
innings, only gave up one run. It's crazy. The Dodgers even out hit the Giants that game 5-3, and the
Yeah,
Giants only got their one run because of a Evan Longoria home run. But sometimes that's all you need, and you can't really. I mean, some may say it was a lucky win, even though Scherzer pitched fantastic. It's not lucky to blank the Dodgers through 9 whole innings, which
for
is
sure.
something they did twice in the first 3 games.
Not to mention the Dodgers were this close to winning the game with
Hmm.
Gavin Lux hitting the ball into the
Oh
wind.
wow, yeah.
I mean, the winds were pretty brutal that game, but I
Hmm.
mean, Longo found a way to get the ball out of the
Yeah,
ballpark. So, I mean, you can't really make excuses for the Dodgers in that scenario. But, um, yeah, I I just thought I had to add that because everyone was kind of complaining about Mother Nature for a little bit.
yeah, I mean that's what you get with baseball. It's not basketball, it's not football. Every park is different, and I mean it's the same with baseball and football. The conditions play a factor, um, and that's something that you got to take into account. I mean, obviously the Dodgers maybe would have put up a couple runs if the wind was blowing in the right way, but who says like the Giants couldn't have put up a couple runs, even though there
Exactly.
might not have been as many warning track shots. If you change the weather, the whole game changes. The approach changes, the swings change. It's all there's no finite result to anything, and it was a good win in my opinion for the Giants, and they take the lead 2-1 game three, and then the Dodgers come four and whoop them 7-2, with DeSclafani only going an inning and 2/3, and then it was
Yeah.
basically just a bullpen game for them. Nothing, nothing really to write home about. Walker Bueller pitched 4 innings, gave up a run. Bullpen on the Dodgers side did their thing. Now we go to a game five, which is it's something that we all wanted from this series. It,
Yeah.
it's it was a great game. I mean, we both just watched it. What are your thoughts? I mean, it was probably one of the best outcomes you can ask for a game
Yeah.
five.
So I'll start with the decisions leading up to the game. With Corey, I can never say his name. I don't know if it's Knable or Nebel. I think it's Nebel,
Knable,
maybe.
yeah, Knable,
Okay,
whatever.
Corey Knable. The decision to start him sorry, start him as an opener over Julio Urias. That was something that a lot of people were finding it interesting. I think that was a decision that they probably would have decided either.
I'm sorry, it was
the
funny.
that voice crack was just
It
that
was
was
funny.
an okay. That was
I'll
a
pull
classic
myself
moment. All
together
right,
here.
I'm not gonna let that one go. Uh, all right. Compose myself. Um, I think that decision, people were gonna hate on it either way. If they didn't win the game, I think that it's especially if he went out in the first couple innings and literally just and shit the bed. To be honest with you, but he came out, had the clean inning. They played the matchup, which caused the Giants to make the form their lineup in a certain way because they're
Hmm.
very platoon heavy. And then Urias came out and pitched for a solid amount of innings. I think it was three, maybe three or
Four,
four.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, and he did pretty solid. Obviously, he kept them in it, and I mean they just pitched great as a whole. Honestly, you just compose yourself, let it go.
I have the humor of a 4-year-old. I'm sorry, but
It's all
go
good.
on.
It's my voice box. I don't know what I can do about it. I'm 13. Uh, uh, I mean, I they did solid overall as a whole. I mean, the Dodgers really didn't do much all that much on offense. They didn't really have any extra base hits that I can think of. Everything was singles. The only reason they really scored in the ninth was because Doval hit Turner, and then Lux
Yeah.
kind of he didn't really hit the ball all that hard, but he got it to go through the right side, and then
Mhm.
Bellinger got a slider over the middle of the plate and then drove it in. So, I mean, it's a game of inches. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if Doval doesn't hit Turner there, I think the Giants probably win that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that went into that, obviously. I was surprised by the Knable decision. I didn't dislike it at all. I was kind of surprised that Gratterall came out right after him. I thought it was going to be Knable
Yeah.
into Urias. Um, that was interesting. Well, were you expecting another reliever or?
Um, no, but they must have liked the matchups that were coming up in that inning. If I had to guess, because the Dodgers are obviously one of the more analytical teams in the league, and
Mhm.
their front office plays a big part into decisions like that beforehand, like game planning. So they must have liked who was coming up in the inning and how they felt about the matchups as far as that goes. As far as that, I think Darren Ruff came up in the second inning, if I'm not mistaken, and he hits lefties very well. So maybe they just didn't want him to get an extra at bat off Urias, if I had to guess. But besides that, I did not expect that personally. I thought Urias would come in right after just to get the platoon advantage and not have to face the righties at the top of the lineup if they were going to put it that way if he started.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as the game went on, it was just a straight up pitchers duel between all the different types of pitchers. Obviously, um, Ruff hit the big bomb. I think it was the longest postseason home run so far this year, like 452. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Good swing of the bat, and it was really cool to see Max Scherzer come in late. This is what I love about the postseason. We've seen it with people like Bumgarner, Kershaw, anyone. I mean, you never know what to expect. And the last thing I thought I was going to see, even though I probably in the back of my mind should have expected it, is Max Scherzer coming out to close a one-run game. And we'll get into that right now. He looked
Yeah.
he looked pretty good. He didn't look
Mm-hmm.
super sharp. Obviously, the first out, I
No.
forgot who it was. They lined out. I think it was Crawford. He lined out to left
Yeah.
field. It was a very sharply hit ball, and then he got a strikeout, and
To Lamont Wade. Yeah.
yeah, that was a big one. Lamont was also very good late in games for them. So I mean, Chris Bryant with the infield single, I guess, error on Justin Turner,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I was I was praying because I'm on the Giants side on this one. I was praying they would pull it out, but man, would I have felt bad for Justin Turner. You don't really see that from him. And
Yeah.
then
That was an unfortunate play. Keep
yeah,
going.
good thing that Scherzer picked him up with the quote unquote strikeout to end the game on Wilmer Flores. We're gonna be seeing a ton of this stuff on social media. It was just a blatant bad call, and it's a shame that it ended that way. And would Wilmer Flores have gotten out? Most likely, but you never know. Max
Yeah.
Scherzer leaves a curveball. Wilmer Flores is a major league hitter. He can hit one out. He can hit a single, continue the inning. You never know. It's really sad to see it end in a way where the ump just took the game away from the Giants.
Yeah. I I saw some people saying he was 0 for 17 against Scherzer before that
Mm-hmm.
at bat and all that stuff, but I mean, if you're really thinking about it, he was due. But not but seriously, like
Yeah.
he I mean, he it's baseball. Like you never know what could happen. He could hang a slider, he could miss a spot on a fastball, and all it takes is one swing, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
I I don't really want to hear that excuse, to be honest with you. I know it sucks. I mean, I don't really know what the solution would that to be, besides like being able to challenge that call. But I mean, it's just kind of a mishap by an umpire. I mean, they're humans too, but at the same time, it's kind of inexcusable when a big moment like that.
Yeah, for sure. So the Dodgers take the series, win it in 5 games, and now they're in the NLCS playing against the Braves. The Braves and
Yep.
the Brewers had a pretty good series. It's one for the people who appreciate the art of pitching. Pitching was extremely dominant that series. I mean, from top to bottom. I mean, looking at the scores of these games, Milwaukee took the first one 2-1, Braves win 3-0, Braves win 3-0 again, and Braves win 5-4. I mean, 3 out of the 4 games, they had 3 or less total runs, which
Yeah.
was crazy. Who particularly? There was a lot of people, but who particularly were you impressed with on either side?
Um, I'm I'm gonna go. I'm not. I don't know if it's like a more under the radar pick, but I think Jock Peterson coming off the
Hmm.
bench a
Yeah.
few times was a big spark plug for the offense. With him not being a regular player in the series, but coming up and having 3 pinch hits, I believe, and
Hmm.
he got hits in all 3 of them, especially with the home run to take the lead in one of them. I
Hmm.
think he just was a big part of their offense, even if he wasn't getting consistent at bats, especially since they were all pitchers duels most of the games.
Yeah. I mean, it was a treat to watch. Max Fried, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. Obviously, Morton unfortunately lost the first game. He went out, pitched 6 innings, gave up two
Hmm.
runs in the last inning. Maybe a time where he should have gotten taken out. He was looking to lose
Yeah,
a little bit of steam. He was still really good. And then he had a little bit of a rough one in the game that they won, where he pitched 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, but he was on short rest. And Ian Anderson turned in a
ooh,
fantastic game as well.
yes, he
It,
was.
yeah, he was lights out.
His changeup was working his whole
Hmm.
start. He had them off balance, and they like like that was one of the more dominant postseason performances I've seen so far this playoffs, at least
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
as
and not
far
to
as
mention, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
just shutting down an offense. But continue.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even on the Brewers side, we had Corbin Burns pitch 6 innings of no run ball, and then
Hmm.
I mean, their pitchers did enough sometimes. I mean, I know they lost the series 3-1, but most teams would like to have
Yeah,
these outings. Woodruff came out, quality start, um, and then Peralta came out as well for game three. Pitched 4 innings, still gave up no runs.
yeah,
There wasn't a bunch of action, and personally, I don't mind that. I'm more of a pitching duel guy than a 12-9 game.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was just a clinic out there on the mound. And on the last game, where the Braves won 5-4 on Freddie Freeman's go ahead hit, that was an electric game as well. I mean,
oh yeah,
you just off Josh Hader as well. I mean, just to put the icing on the cake, I think Freeman has earned his way into a big contract there, which is something we could get into in a later episode with first baseman. Um, but I mean,
yeah.
he has to retire a Brave, right?
Yeah, he's a yeah, I mean, I think he's a Braves lifer. We can have the conversation another time about how first baseman should be valued in like in free agency and all that stuff like that. But yeah, I think he's just one of those guys that he's too big of a part of their team where they can let him go in the middle of a contending stretch.
Yeah. Um, the Braves are now playing the Dodgers. Some may write this off as an easy Dodgers ticket to the World Series. Personally, I don't see it that way.
Me
Let me
either.
know your thoughts on the Braves playing the Dodgers.
I think everyone seems to underestimate the Braves. I know I mean, even though they were just in the CS, facing the Dodgers,
Mhm.
not too long ago, obviously, but I know they don't have Ronald Acuna Jr., who's obviously a huge part of their team, and Marcell Ozuna, who was a big part of their team last year, but
Mhm.
they still have a great offense. I mean, their whole infield nearly hit 30 home runs if it wasn't for Dansby, who basically was there. I mean, he was
Yeah.
a few off, but uh, they have enough pop in their lineup as far as their outfield and their infield goes. They have guys who can just get on base in general, and they just have stars all over the field as far as their lineup goes. And then their pitching is also may not be as flashy as the Dodgers, but they get the job done. They have some guys who are tried and true as far as the playoffs go, with Charlie Morton with the Astros before in his past, and Max Fried, who pitched well in the playoffs last year, I want to say also. So I have a lot of faith in them to make it a decent series. I think I still have the Dodgers winning it, but I think
Mhm.
it's gonna go 6 or 7 in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't see any reason why someone like Max Fried or Charlie Morton or Ian Anderson can't go toe to toe with Urias or Bueller.
Yeah,
Scherzer may be a little bit of a different story, but I mean, seeing the way some of these Giants pitchers pitched against the Dodgers, these Braves pitchers are extremely talented. This is not an easy write-off for the Dodgers here. Um, I
not
would
at
be a
all.
little surprised if the Braves pull away and win and go to the World Series, but I'm not completely dismissing that idea. They have the
Exactly.
firepower on offense, and they have the pitching. The bullpen's been pretty good as well. And just like you said, I got to take the Dodgers in this series, but
Hmm.
I'm praying it goes 6 or 7 games, and I really do think it will. Um, I'm rooting for the Braves personally. I would love to see them in the World Series. Um, they're just a team I feel like you can't really dislike for the most part. I don't
Yeah.
know how you feel about that. I know that your
No. Yeah, I
quote
agree.
unquote second team is the
Yeah.
Dodgers, but I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't be terribly mad if the Braves made it.
No, not at all. My second team love comes from Clayton Kershaw because he's my favorite player, and he's not even pitching this postseason. So
Yeah.
I'm not really pushing the Dodgers narrative as hard as I probably would be if he was starting game 2 or 3. Uh, so I mean, I think the Braves are personally a likable team. They don't have any big personalities that are like polarizing whatsoever, or anything like that.
Hmm.
So I think the Braves are very solid. I think it comes down to the bullpens. I think the Braves have a solid bullpen, but I don't think they're very overpowering. Which
Hmm.
I think the Dodgers have that advantage because they have some guys who can come down and shut down an inning you never even had a chance. As
Hmm.
far as Blake Trinan and Gratterall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think guys like AJ Minter and Luke Jackson and Will Smith are solid relievers. I mean, they're just solid, but I don't think they're the kind of guys that necessarily may shut down the Dodgers as consistent as they need them to, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be an interesting matchup. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
it, and I'm rooting for the Braves here. But moving on to one of the more interesting and maybe more shocking series to some, the Red Sox beat the Rays 3 games to 1. Um, do we call this an upset? I know it technically was. Were you
For
expecting the Rays to blow them out of the water, or how did you expect the series to go?
um personally, I had the gentleman sweep going for the Rays. I mean, it happened the opposite way, but at the same time, I saw a scenario, but I didn't think it would happen because I thought the Rays were just such a talented team and their
Hmm.
pitching was so good that I didn't think the Red Sox's offense was just going to be able to overpower the series like it did.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously the Red Sox pitching did better than I thought it would also against that highly thought of Rays offense. It kind of surprised me. Uh, like the Rays obviously performed on offense a little bit, but I thought they were gonna have some big games against some of their pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, Um, they did beat them game 1, and they came out
Yeah,
hot. It was a great game.
yeah,
Rosarena stole home. It was all electric. Everything was working. Chris Sale, um, came out, and I mean Eduardo came out, and he didn't even do that well. And it was kind of
no,
like
didn't look
one
great
of
at
those.
all.
Yeah, it was one of those things where Pavetta kind of came in. He gave up 3 runs in 4 innings, but he kind of put the brakes a little bit. They still
Settled it
lost five
down. Yeah,
nothing. And after that, I was like, okay, the Rays look great. There's no way they lose this. And then the Red Sox just complete massacre on offense the next game, and then you
they
you
flipped
start to
that
think,
switch. Yeah.
yeah, that's one of the bigger turning points. Um, they started Shane Baz, who only went 2 innings, gave up three. I don't know. It was a tough formula for the Rays pitching wise. Um,
Mhm.
do you think that the pitching might have held them back a little bit in the aspect where there wasn't experience anywhere?
Yeah, I think the experience of the Red Sox hitters along with the inexperience of the Rays pitchers kind of coincided with each other, obviously,
Hmm.
as counterparts. That I think that kind of messed with them a little bit because say the Red Sox hitters are taking pitches that maybe you wouldn't really expect the team to typically take in the regular season and stuff like that. That can wear on a young pitcher a little bit because then they start trying to get a little too accurate, in their head, and they start to miss a little more, and they start to miss over the plate a little more, and then all that stuff starts to just like spiral in their head, and then they're just not on point. And a veteran team like that, who's been there before and who's won a World Series with that core, can kind of jump on a pitcher. You kind of saw that with McClanahan in the last game of the series. He just he got ambushed.
Yeah.
So
Looking at the game two where it was 14-6, you might think, oh, the Red Sox dominated the whole way through. That's not entirely true. The game was pretty close until Michael Waka came in. He gave up
yeah,
6 runs. One of the biggest factors for the Red Sox, and I think it's going to be a huge factor for them having a chance at advancing. The nasty man known as Tanner Houck came in, 5 innings of 1-run ball, 5 strikeouts. He was a big part of them winning the series.
yeah, I mean he's disgusting.
Hmm.
I can't wait to see him in a starting role hopefully
Yeah.
next year. But yeah, in this series he's pretty crucial. Every team seems to have that multi-inning guy, or at least a couple of them. For the Red Sox it's been Nick Pivetta and Tanner Houck. They uh they're going to be crucial to their run in my opinion because their starting staff, while they have a few guys that are noteworthy,
Hmm.
but they necessarily haven't lived up to their name, if you could say. As far as Chris Sale, returning from injury, he hasn't been as good as you'd expect him to be. Who knows? He could pick it up, but I think a
He's
guy
been
like Tanner
terrible,
Houck,
to be completely
yeah,
honest.
yeah, no, yeah, no doubt. But I mean, he's still got good stuff, so you never know. Like if he just kind of figures it
Hmm.
out, I'm not gonna ever doubt Chris Sale. I just can as a White Sox fan, but
Hmm.
uh, I think a guy like Tanner Houck who can come in and kind of keep you in it if he does come out and lay a stinker, is kind of big for a team, especially whose strength is definitely not their pitching staff.
Yeah, and I mean the 3-1 victory in the series, it could have gone either way, man. I mean, the next game, the Red Sox win in extra innings in the 13th inning on a Christian
Yeah,
Vasquez walk-off homer. That was the same
off of a
game that,
rookie.
yeah, that was the same game that featured the controversy in right field with the ground rule double off the bat of Kiermaier. Probably would have scored. It would have scored Yandy Diaz, and I mean
Yeah,
that game, that whole dynamic could have just flipped. Um,
yeah.
what were your thoughts on that situation? A lot of critiques coming from certain people.
Um, I mean, there's really nothing you can do besides look in the rule book and what does it say, because it clearly wasn't on purpose. I mean,
Hmm.
he even tried to save the ball from going out of bounds
Yeah.
or I don't even out of play.
Hmm.
And I mean, imagine if that happened. Like, think about that scenario.
Yeah.
About if he catches that ball over the fence and then throws it back in and the run scores and everyone finds out that the run wouldn't have scored if it went out.
Hmm.
Imagine that scenario, then people would
Oh.
be complaining about a whole different situation. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, I personally haven't seen that I can remember. I don't know about you. It's definitely there's definitely been a few instances this playoffs of rules that I was not sure, like I didn't really know existed or I haven't really thought of in a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely a weird situation to say the least. I mean, I think they handled it the right way.
Hmm.
It's kind of unfortunate for the Rays because that kind of swung the series, obviously. But I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it now.
Yeah. My issue is not with how they enforce the rule, because it's the
Yeah.
rule. My issue is with the rule itself. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I
think the
see what you're saying.
rule, yeah, I think the rule itself needs to be reworked. It is, it's just stupid. Um, the Rays would have gotten a run 100% whether he fields it cleanly or not. And there needs to be, my issue is the rule book states something along the lines of if a player inadvertently hits it out, how do you distinguish that? Who's to say
Yeah,
a ball doesn't bounce in front of a player and he's thinking, okay, if I kind of flick it out, they won't score. You can't say he did it on purpose. You can't say he didn't. There's no, because that's one of those things. It's subjective. It's not white or black. I mean, there's no line.
yeah,
That rule needs to be reworked 100%. That
I
rule might
yeah,
have. I mean, credit to the Red Sox. They won the series. That series could have flipped the other way, and we could have seen the Rays in the
I
ALCS
agree
no matter what. But I don't want to take anything away from the Red Sox. I mean, Nick
for sure.
Pivetta,
Yeah,
4 innings, 7 strikeouts. He was on fire that game, and
he basically
he's
started.
he's the reason they won, in my opinion. To keep him in that long in extra innings, like wow, fantastic.
Yeah, and he was the reason the bullpen wasn't completely trash for the next game,
Mm,
also because he threw 4 innings, because that would have if he wasn't there. I mean, other guys would have had to go an extra inning possibly, or like everyone would have been a little bit less rested, and who knows if they even win Game 4 without him.
yeah. Um, Moving on to the next game. I mean, McClanahan obviously gave up 5 runs. Very unfortunate.
Yeah,
Um, and you know, all these games were kind of nail biters. Besides the 14-6 to the end. I mean, the first game they won 5-0, but it felt like it could have been close. The
yeah,
last 2 games, obviously 2 walk-offs at Fenway. Man, it could have swung either way. They were very exciting to watch, in my opinion. I was,
extremely.
yeah, I was pulling for the Rays. They were my World Series pick. Obviously, that's not going to pan out. But just a fantastic series, in my opinion. I did not expect the Red Sox to come out and win that series, but they did. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm happy to see them there as Schwarber's on that team, and as a Cubs fan, there's nothing I could do but root for my man Schwarbs.
yeah. I think that this series just kind of proved the buzzsaw that the Boston Red Sox can have if their
Mm-hmm.
offense is on. Um, I I think that that should prove to to be a scary sight for the Houston Astros, as we'll get to in a second. But I mean, credit to the Rays for having a great season. But the Red Sox just proved themselves here.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to probably the topic that you might want to talk least about, um, the White Sox
Yeah,
and Astros. Didn't go as we expected. Probably didn't go much as you expected. I mean,
yeah.
you know
As
what?
they were my World Series pick.
Yeah, you're the Sox fan here. Just take me through the take me through the whole series, your thoughts, everything. Just lay it all out.
Gladly. Um, so game 1. Obviously, we come out and I knew that Lance Lynn wasn't the best matchup, especially going up against the Astros, who are the best fastball hitting team in the league, and him being the most consistent fastball thrower in the league. I mean, it's just never going to be a great matchup for him, but at the same time, he's been our guy all year. And what can you really do in that situation? He has to pitch eventually, and the guy that he's pitching against, Lance McCullers Jr., we typically don't have success against. So it's kind of just a lose-lose in that situation, and you kind of hope that the offense just kind of has some sort of spark and you can pull one out and steal one away. And it obviously we get blown out. Not much to really talk about there. We kind of just got boat raced. They came out firing against Lance. They hit the ball hard to all fields, and we didn't really hit the ball whatsoever. So that's kind of how the game 1 went. Nothing much to say there. Game 2, uh, Giolito comes out firing, strikes out the side right away. Framber doesn't look as sharp as he typically would like. His curveball was working, but besides that, we were taking his sinker the other way and having a good approach on it. Um, and consistent theme throughout the series is the White Sox hitting a lot of singles and hitting the ball on the ground a lot, which comes back to bite them, obviously. Uh, so a game 2, Giolito comes out firing, strikes out the side, first inning, and afterwards, things just start to slowly tail off as the game goes on. Like there was kind of a point in the second or third inning where Yoan Moncada goes for a ball up against the third base line and kind of bumps into the screen a little bit and is kind of down, a little shaken up. And I feel like that kind of threw off Giolito's rhythm a little bit, and he walks that hitter that he's in the at bat with. I think it was Jordan Alvarez, and then after that, the inning just kind of spirals out of control, and they get a few runs, and we never really seemed to scratch and claw our way back into that game. After that, we kind of just struggled a little bit. The bullpen came out. Um, there were a few solid outings. Ryan Tepera did pretty well out of the bullpen, but I mean, it didn't really matter because other guys would come out and give up runs anyway. So uh, that was kind of a struggle. Craig Kimbrell gave up a decently big home run that kind of solidified the game there.
Hmm.
Kind of summed up his White Sox tenure so far. So we'll leave Houston down 2-0. Not feeling too great about it, but at the same time, you get 2 games at home. We haven't had a playoff game at home since 2008, I believe. So you're kind of encouraged by that. You're kind of getting the hopes up. Hopefully, the crowd can get into it and stuff like that. And we come out. Um, I mean, the ballpark was pretty electric. I feel like everyone was saying that. There was the Kane guy that went viral on Twitter and all that stuff. So Dylan Cease comes out, kind of lays a bit of a stinker. He kind of did the same thing as Giolito, but to like a worser extent within less amount of time. He came out the first inning throwing 101, struck out the side, did very well. Uh, and then Luis Garcia was kind of shaky to start the game. We got a run in the first inning and stuff like that. So we were feeling pretty good. And then Dylan Cease comes out the next inning and just loses all control. Starts walking hitters, and then Michael Kopech comes in to try to save the inning after 3 walks, and then he starts giving up hits and stuff, and he gave up a home run to Kyle Tucker, I believe, and the game was 5-1 after 3. So it was not looking too great, and then Yasmani hits a home run and Leori hit a home run, and the game's back on top. And after that, the bullpen showed up and did what they had to do, and eventually we ended up winning 12-6 after the offense comes alive and we start hitting the ball in the air, as any good team would do if they want to score runs, is hit the ball in the air, and they score 12 runs. So the momentum is up at this point. It's 2-1 series. You never really know what could happen because you got Carlos Rodon coming up, and you're not really sure at this point because the game got postponed the next day. So Lance McCullers is announced as the starter. So it's kind of rough. As a White Sox fan, you knew you were gonna have to face McCullers at some point, but you really kind of prefer to face him at home. I mean, you really want to face him at all, but if you're gonna have to face him anywhere. So you come into game 4 and the team just kind of comes out flat, honestly. We the Gavin Sheets home run happened, and besides that, I mean, Carlos Rodon came out hot, like the 2 other starting pitchers came out, and just kind of when the adrenaline wore off and they kind of got in their own head a little bit because the Astros hitters, I mean, credit to them, they're the most patient team in the league, I think, besides maybe the Dodgers. They're incredibly patient, and it's so tough to face a team like that because they just work counts. They constantly, like every time through the order, every hitter who's up, they're working counts constantly. And whenever they get a mistake, they're typically not missing it. So it's really, really tough on pitchers to face. That's kind of why I think our pitchers struggled, because they weren't able to get swings and misses in the zone, because that's typically how they were living most of the season, and they really couldn't do that. Uh, so game 4 was kind of just a stinker. There was not really much to say about it. As soon as Carlos Rodon gave up those runs on the Carlos Correa hit, it kind of just went downhill from there, and nobody else really did much there. That really sums up the series. It's kind of a gut punch, but I think there's some more in-depth like topics that we could talk about as far as the games go, with like the Grandal play and the Tapera comments and stuff like that.
Yeah,
uh
for sure.
do you have any thoughts on the Yasmani thing to start?
Um, Not really. People are just overreacting to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I played baseball, I was primarily a pitcher at the end of my quote unquote career.
Yeah.
But I did play first base a lot, and you brought this up in a private conversation. You're taught to, if you field the ball at first, let's say you're throwing a second for a double play and you hit the runner, oh, too bad. You got
Yeah,
to make an
exactly.
angle, you got to step aside, do something to get the ball to second. The runner is allowed to make his own base path. Um, and did Yasmani do that on purpose? Whether he denies it or not, I believe he did. Was
Yeah,
it
I
a
agree.
smart play? Absolutely. They scored a run. It followed all the rules. Why not? The people overreacting are the people who either don't know the rule, don't watch too much baseball, never played baseball. It did look strange at first sight.
No,
You're
yeah,
like,
no doubt.
oh, look at this guy running into the ball. It's a playoff game, and I credit to him. Really, really smart play. Um, very smart play,
Yeah.
actually. You don't see that very often. Um, I had no issue with it at all. Anything you can do to give your team the edge, that's legal, Astros. Um, you know, I I think it should be used. Speaking of cheating, what are your thoughts on Ryan Tepera's comments after Game Three? Personally, real quick, I didn't feel that they were needed for some reason. I was like, okay, like you're focused on, like, I get it. Their offense didn't do as well Game Three, swing and miss
Yeah.
wise, as they, did games one and two. Are you insinuating that they were cheating? What's going on here? I just think then Dusty Baker got involved, and then after the Astros win, they asked them about it. It's like why? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna get too mad at him because he pitched very well this series.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't give up a run or anything like that, and
Yeah.
he did his job, so nothing's on him personally. But yeah, I it kind of just came out of left field. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, I was so confused by the comments. I was like, I mean, I guess like I thought in my head, I was like, I kind of hope this doesn't just make the Astros just want to beat us even more because I don't think they need any more motivation. Like
Mm-hmm.
they already came out firing every single game and they were on the upper hand. Even the game we won, they had the lead at one point by 5 runs. So I mean like even the game that he's saying like they weren't cheating or they didn't have the ability to cheat, they scored 6 runs. So I mean they're a talented ball club with or without it. So I don't really know why he said it, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not really. I like what Dusty said. I mean, he's gonna defend his team either way, and he's gonna obviously have like his like a little subtle comment or a little subtle shade out
Mm-hmm.
there. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. They beat us fair and square, and we just need to recover and get better in the off season. Credit to the Astros though, because they're a great team, and we're obviously gonna get to the ALCS in a second. But I just wanted to say they played really good, and their bullpen also showed up pretty well.
Yeah. Disappointing series for the Sox, and I think all Sox fans can agree.
Yeah,
Coming into the playoffs, did they have the best team ERA? Was it in the AL? They were up there.
in the AL, yeah.
In the AL, pitching
So
was a strong suit for them. Didn't
yep,
really show up. And then you go, okay, if the pitching's not showing up, they'll provide the runs. Tim Anderson, Abreu, Robert, Eloy, Yasmani, all these names. Nobody really showed up. I mean, to be honest, Robert impressed me every game. Robert was there.
yeah,
Um, and I know you've been preaching this, Robert MVP next year. That's a legitimate claim. He's a fantastic player. He's going to be the best player on that team if he's not already.
no
He's
doubt.
he's fantastic. Um, but uh, you know, he was the only one on offense that really gave you something. I mean, Sheets obviously had a great game, game four, but I mean, Timmy
Yeah,
also, Timmy got the singles, most
yeah.
postseason, whatever the stat was.
I don't mind that what he did because he got on
Yeah,
base.
yeah.
But
But apart from a few guys, you have all these names. Um, they had their moments. Garcia, obviously, home run. Yasmani, home run. It never clicked at the same time, which is just very
no,
unfortunate.
yeah, that I mean, coming into it, I acknowledged the ground ball rate being top 5 highest in the league, but at the same time, I kind of, as a White Sox fan, I chose to ignore it because I
Hmm.
just kind of hoped that things would change over time, especially with the big boppers coming back and they're easing themselves in, because they only played like the last 2 months of the season at string together. So I was hoping that maybe they would get hot and they would start hitting the ball in the air, but it kind of really didn't seem to come to fruition, and that kind of came to bite them. Um, I'd hate to do this to the team leader, but a guy like Jose Abreu, with all of the double plays and the ground balls he was hitting, kind of killed the team a little bit, especially where he was placed in the lineup. It kind of hurt. I know he had some decently big hits in the series, but in my opinion, it was kind of frustrating. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of these big names didn't really show up a ton.
Yeah,
I think one of it's also extremely important to acknowledge the pitching as well. It's really tough when your starters aren't giving you as many innings as you're hoping for, and you got to turn to the
yeah.
pen every game. Um, See a guy like McCullers who went out there. Did he throw 6 innings? His 6 or 7 his first
Um,
game. I think it was
Something
6.
like that. He shoved. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever it was, he completely dominated the whole lineup.
yeah, exactly. I mean, when you
Besides
have
Luis
someone like
Robert.
that, yeah, it's one of those things where your starter sets the tone for the whole game. And if every game you're not getting that guy who's going deep, it's unfortunate. I get it. They're
Yeah,
young, they're inexperienced when it comes to playoff baseball. Um, it's still every team gets in a rough patch, and it's just unfortunate that it happened right as the playoffs started. It was a really good
yeah,
team. A lot of people had the Astros winning the series, which is fair. I mean, they're a great team. I personally had the White Sox winning it, and it was the series I was most excited for, and I was left like, damn, like that's all we got from them, and it's really
yeah.
unfortunate. So
I I agree. I think guys like Craig Kimbrell, Michael Kopech, not really doing as well out of the bullpen either, kind of hurt. But I I don't know if it really makes that much of a difference with how the starters performed in general. To be honest with you.
yeah, I would agree there. Enough on the sad topic. There's
Yeah.
always next year. Like I'm pretty sure I've told you this. I think I said that the Sox weren't going to win it this year, but they would come back and make it
Yeah.
further, if not win it next year. They're going to add. We'll have a whole podcast when the season's done on free agents and all. They should be better next year. Um,
A decent amount of podcasts in the off season.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, sad to see it end that way. But there's a winner in every game, so the Astros will be playing the Red Sox. Quick predictions. I, I'm taking the Red Sox here. I'm taking the Red Sox to stun the Astros, um, because I simply don't like the Astros and I love Kyle Schwarber. That's basically it. Um, but I think the series goes 6-6, and I think the Red
Okay.
Sox win 4-2. It's going to be one of those
Okay.
where everything just comes together for them. Sale is going to come out. I'm pretty sure Sale's pitching the first game, which is
Yeah.
technically today.
Yes.
Um, he's going to come out with some fire.
I agree.
Quick note: McCullers, he's out for the whole series, correct?
It's not confirmed, but John Heyman said it's very likely. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with probably at least a 70% chance.
Okay.
Either way, he probably won't be available for the first couple of games at least. So
Yeah.
that kind of hurts them a lot because Framber being their number one starter, I don't know how confident I am in that, honestly,
No.
because the Red Sox have a lot of strong righties in that lineup, and
Mm-hmm.
their best lefty is Devers, and he hits lefties just fine. So
Yeah. I'm going Red Sox winning 4-2, and I'm going to go with the playoff legend, Kike Hernandez, winning the
okay,
ALCS MVP. Um, Moving on to the NL side, we got the Braves Dodgers. My heart will be with the Braves. I love that team is so fun to watch. Prediction wise, I think the Dodgers win at 4-2. I don't think we're going to see a game 7 in any of the CSs. Um, and then I think the NLCS MVP, I think it's going to be Max Scherzer. Um, I, it depends if it goes. I think it's going to go 6 games, and I think he's going to shove and maybe come in relief. Who knows?
okay,
Um, maybe possibly in a game seven situation. If there was one, I could see him coming in relief again. It's just an easy pick for MVP. Um, he looks good. He looks really good. And as much as I want the Braves to win, you got it. The Dodgers are on their high horse right now. I mean, I could just see it. So those are my
Okay.
predictions. What about you?
My AL prediction, I have the Red Sox winning, but in 7 games. I think it's gonna be just a slugfest throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Red Sox are just a little bit more hot coming into this, and I think the loss of McCullers is really gonna kill them. I really do. I just think the Red Sox with Nasty Nate and Eduardo are gonna show up. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm not really. I don't know how I feel about Sale quite yet, but I think those two guys are just gonna put them over the top, especially with Luis Garcia not looking very good in his first playoff start.
Yeah.
And then in the NL, my bracket is currently 100% correct. By the way, just putting that out there
Oh,
as far
really?
as the NL goes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so I'm gonna stick with my bracket. I'm gonna stick with my guns here. I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. So I got the 2018 World Series rematch. Did you pick the winner for the World Series, or were you leaving that out?
Oh no, I forgot to. Just you go through, and I'll come back to it.
Okay, okay. So I have that, and then I'm going. Man, I'm not big on back-to-back Warners. I don't know. It's just weird. It
Mm-hmm.
feels odd to me. But I don't know if I see the Red Sox having enough juice,
Yeah.
especially playing a whole 7-game series. And I think I'm gonna go Dodgers in 5.
Wow.
To be honest with you, yeah. I think
Awesome.
this was a big booster, especially beating the other best team in the league. I think this is just gonna propel them, and maybe they'll realize, man, I think we already beat the best team. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, mine's gonna go a very similar way for the World Series. I got the Dodgers in. I'm gonna go six.
okay,
I think they can scratch out a couple wins, a couple late wins like they did against the Rays. Um, but yeah, Dodgers, they look like they're primed to win this World Series now. Um, and they just look good in all forms. And World Series MVP, book it, everybody. Gavin Lux, he looks
okay,
fantastic. Um, he's hitting the ball very well. I think he's going to show up for them. And yeah, that's my pick.
yeah. Oh, I didn't give my CS MVPs.
Yeah, go through them.
So with the AL, I'm gonna go with Hunter Renfroe.
Okay.
Uh, I just like his pop, and I think he could have like a big outfield assist or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
especially with this cannon of an arm. So I like the splash play potential there. Um, with the NL, I'm gonna go with, since I picked the Dodgers, obviously. I'm gonna go with old reliable. I'm gonna go with Chris Taylor. He's
Okay.
just been that typical postseason guy. I feel like you can't go wrong with a guy like that. And then with the World
Future Cub
Series,
Chris Taylor or
future White Sox Chris Taylor.
oh,
Uh,
interesting. Okay.
it's gonna be an interesting talk during the offseason,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, I think in the World Series, I'm gonna go with Max Scherzer. I think he pitches 3 times, and he gets it done. I think he pitches 1, 4, and 6. So,
Yeah. No, that's
oh wait, I
def.
picked the Dodgers and I'm gonna go with Dodgers in 6, just to
Okay.
prove that narrative. And then I don't think I said the Dodgers and Braves. I'll go 6 with that also.
Okay. Yeah, it should be exciting.
Yeah,
I would love to see Braves versus Red Sox.
that would be
And
nice. That would
I
be a
would
cool series, I
it
think.
would be refreshing. I really don't want the Dodgers or Astros to make it, and I definitely don't want the Dodgers or Astros winning it. The Braves winning it would be, the best thing that could happen for Atlanta, obviously. But like for me as a baseball fan, like if you told me in the beginning of the year Atlanta was gonna make it and win the World Series, and then you told me they wouldn't have Acuna or Soroka or Ozuna, it's like wow, that's a
Yeah,
fantastic story, and I'm rooting for them with every bone in my body.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm rooting for 3 out of the 4 teams, and I'd be fine with them. I'm just
Yeah.
not. I'm not big on the Astros currently. I just think I need more time to get over that. I think,
Yeah,
and just the way they've handled it so far, I don't really like it because it's almost like they lean into it a little bit, and I don't really like that. But besides that, yeah, I wouldn't be really mad at the Braves at all. Honestly, I think they're a very likable team, and they don't have many people you can dislike. You know, I think Freddie Freeman's one of like the most wholesome guys in the league. You
yeah,
know, and I know Ronald's hurt right now, but I think a guy like Ronald Acuna, I mean, he would get the ring. So I think I'm rooting for that
yeah.
personally.
It would be special to see them win it for him, which would be
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. Did you
Yeah,
see his Instagram live reaction
yeah, that was awesome.
as after they won?
Yeah,
That was pretty funny.
it was really funny. It's sad at the same time because
No, for sure.
he's obviously one of the top players in the league, and they're making it this far without him. Imagine if they had him, we might be talking a very close series.
No, yeah,
Um,
I
but
agree.
yeah, I'm rooting for them. Yeah, I hope the Astro
Yeah.
season ends now because future Cub Carlos Correa needs to start getting on the phone and negotiating with Jed Hoyer here, ship him over to Chicago. So everything that has been done is just washed out of my head.
Really
I can
quick,
start to like him again. But
do you want to give your mini pitch? Just a preview for the off season? Just the Carlos Correa.
uh, all right, hey Carlos, um, I owned your Astros shirt before the whole cheating scandal. I hope you weren't involved in that. No matter what they say, I know I know you're a great guy. Um, if you ever want some tips on how to navigate through Wrigley, let me know. We would love to have you. Make sure you get your money, but we would love to have you. We got a World Series contending team very soon. Um,
Oh, I
one
got Carlos
one.
on the phone right here.
Uh,
Oh, you
no,
want to
it's
go
all
to the
right.
White Sox? Oh,
You can
okay.
have Chris Taylor.
I'll
Carlos, you
send
got
you over the
fantastic.
contract. All right.
Go have a talk with Wilson Contreras. I bet you guys will hit it off. Um, you love Wrigley. We'll love to have you. So thank you. Hopefully, you know Carlos can see that. Obviously, he will. But
All right. Eli Boris.
yeah, we'll have to get on the phone with that, pull a few strings. But yeah, other than that, I would like to see the Astros done. The Red Sox are a good team to root for in this scenario. I don't think anyone's arguing that, and I would love to see one Cub make it. Um, Obviously, KB versus Schwarber would have been awesome. Give Schwarber his ring, man. I would love to see that. So I'm excited
Yeah,
for these
uh,
games.
for sure. I think these are going to be some great series. So I'm hoping neither of them turn out to be like lopsided, but we'll see. With I like our odds at some good series here. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. That's gonna wrap it up for this episode of the Pitch Catch Podcast. Make sure to follow us on all socials at Pitch Catch Pod. If you're watching at YouTube, like the video, subscribe, and let us know your picks. We would love to have a chat with you guys about that. And yeah, what a wild divisional series we had. And it should only be getting crazier. One step
Yep.
closer to the World Series for these teams, and I'm excited to see who makes it. So, thank you guys all for watching, and have a great rest of your day or night whenever you're watching. Peace out.